There we go. Good day, everyone. What's going on? It is the Holistic Freedom Secrets podcast, uh, coming to you at 6:30 a.m. this morning for episode 54.
Good day, loves.
Um, Episode 54. That's pretty cool. I am one of your hosts, Coach Soul Expression.
And I'm Coach Tensi of Ufulu Child. We are co-founders of Ufulu Child, where Ufulu means freedom, and we are freedom secrets. It's not freedom secrets, but freedom seekers. We focus this podcast on our 5-pronged healing system, and this is be, cleanse, fuel, move, and shine. And so every day of the work week, we have been tackling and will continue to cover the different aspects. So B is Monday, Tuesday's cleanse, Wednesday's fuel. Today is Thursday, so it's move day. And then tomorrow will be shine. And today's topic is pretty cool.
Yes, indeed. Today we are talking about the body, the mind, the emotions, and the cellular benefits of intentional movement. And we got a lot to cover.
So share this out.
Share this out. Somebody who needs it, somebody who's learning more about intentional movement or practicing more, getting into movement, whether that's workouts, hiking, biking, dancing, yoga, whatever it is. And let's kind of get straight into it. So what is intentional movement, right? Is your chores, if you wake up and kind of do some chores before you go to work or before you really start your day, is that intentional movement? You're moving.
It depends on how present you are when you're doing the movements that you are doing. Are you noticing how you're breathing? Are you noticing how your body is aligned? I feel like anything could be an intentional movement.
Anything indeed can be an intentional movement. And usually when we are in routine and we're in our mind and we're not very present, meaning we're doing the things that we have to do, thinking about the next few things that we have to do, or thinking about, some sort of distraction, we're not in intentional movement.
Mm-hmm.
Intentional movement simply means moving where first you set an intention or you have an intention for why you are doing the movement that you're doing at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to, that's why it's most of the time connected to fitness, yoga, and hiking, biking, sports, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon me. The intentionality of it affects your brain, your mind-body connection, your brain-body connection in such a way that the benefits are, you're like setting up your body to receive the benefits of the movement. And you receive benefits of movement every time you move anyway, but there's a lot of tension in how we think about things. And so sometimes when we're moving, we're simultaneously tensing up and stressing out about various things in our lives versus when we're doing intentional movement, when we're moving intentionally to loosen up, when we're moving intentionally to build strength, when we're focused on getting the benefits of movement, we're usually more present and we're not simultaneously stressing out. And so when we release, let's say, that cortisol, it's the right dosage for the amount of movement that you're doing or what's needed at the moment. And you're not going to tense up the same way.
So intentional movement helps us support our emotional regulation, helps us bring balance to our relationship with how we see ourselves, so our self-esteem. And it also helps on a cellular level. It helps to cleanse the body, and helps with the detoxification process of not only the toxins that may be in our bodies that may come out through our sweat, but also because especially if we're doing certain types of higher intensity interval um, movement, then where we're on for like we're almost out of breath and then we're coming back into more of a restful, slowing down the breath, moments of rest. This also can stimulate something in the body that allows for like that inner cleanup crew to get rid of the waste out of the body and to really um, hone in more deeply. So this is kind of what we're going to be covering, and it's interesting because I remember for the longest time I would not challenge myself in certain ways when it comes to movement. I would just kind of like skate by and just do like this. It was all the time, it was just low intensity all the time, unless I had other people in the room where I was competing. And I talked with a client about this, and we reminisced about childhood memories of our parents telling us to get into sports and us trying it for the first time and then like not being happy with not being the absolute best person out there and then crying and then asking and to not have to do that anymore and them saying fine and how later on in life it ended up being a disservice for me because being uncomfortable is where a lot of the healing happens, not only just emotionally but also physically. So later in life I had to find ways to put myself in uncomfortable circumstances in a controlled environment through exercise, through um, fasting, through even saunas or things like that, or cold showers, or whatever the experience was. And it was a short phase. Don't look at me, babe. Don't look at me. It was a short phase of cold showers. But I'm giving some examples of different instances that will test you and that I've tried. And this is something that is necessary in order to stimulate that immune response.
Yep. Yep. And there's a lot of emotional benefits to it as well. Reducing stress, reducing bad stress, I should say, because when you're working out or you're doing fitness or you're doing a cold plunge or a cold shower or wherever, there's going to be stress because you're shocking something. But that's, there's a good stress and a bad stress. So the reduction of stress means the reduction of bad stress, the release of endorphins, the ability to lessen the blow of anxiety and the, let's say, heaviness of anxiety. These emotional benefits are very, very, very common among pretty much everybody who gets into emotional movement, myself included. Um, there's a lot of times where uh, here at the house, we may have, here at the place that we live, we may have, you know, 2 or 3 challenging days in a row, and then we'll, take walks and things for 2 and 3 days, or like 2 days, and then those walks will, help cleanse out some of the energy and release the endorphins and reduce the stress. So very real, you know, very real emotional benefits to intentional movement. And there's a relationship between movement and emotional healing.
Hmm.
Um, One of our coaching clients who was going through a really rough patch with her husband, every day, walkie talkie. It's a part of our coaching program. We do the walkie talkie app, so you can say a quick message while it's in the moment or right after the moment, and you don't have to like wait until your formal like Friday coaching call or whatever to try and remember what it was like. You can walkie talkie in real time, and like every day, multiple messages over the walkie talkie of the rough patch that her and her husband were having. And Coach Tensi kept emphasizing, movement and certain things. And now, like to this, and this was a couple years back, and like to this day, first of all, they're fine. Their family's great. Um, Moved on from that rough patch, and it's kind of all good. And to this day, she still takes her morning walk when it comes to like she goes to work. She walks across a long bridge and does this thing where she incorporates intentional movement into her morning, and her mood is just her mood and like outlook on life is just, yeah, it's elevated um, times 10. So
Yeah.
very, very good stuff there.
And it's also great to see her because it inspires so many other things too. Because she's more recently been more active in sharing the things she's passionate about,
Yeah, shining. Yeah.
shining on people. And it just warms my heart so much because this is something that she sparked within herself. She reminded herself that she was capable of these things, or proved to herself that she was capable of these things through movement. Maybe it started there, and then it just ripples throughout life, and it's the most fulfilling thing.
So intentional movement has a profound impact on self-esteem, especially when it's regular movement. Because here's the thing: when you go to do things that are challenging, and you go to actively engage in things that challenge you, and um, that you don't that parts of you don't want to do in the moment, and then you do it and you conquer the moment, and you conquer yourself, and you conquer your lower vibration, then it provides a space for you to recognize that the moments of discomfort and the moments of self-doubt don't hold as much weight as your power, right? Your power holds more weight. Your ability to overcome those things holds more weight than the self-doubt. And so in engaging in regular intentional movement, again, whether that's hiking, biking, sports, or yoga, long walks,
Hula
dancing,
hooping,
yeah,
roller skating,
yep, um, skateboarding,
swimming.
whatever the intentional movement is, the more you engage in it on a regular basis, there's a connection to raising your self-esteem. There's
Yeah.
a connection to your self-confidence
And
in that regard.
if you can get outside, just like how we talked about in our nature moves episode, it's even more profound sometimes. As often as you can get outside. But yeah, so let's talk about some um, ways that we can practically structure intentional movement. And one example that you alluded to in the story about one of our clients that we worked with was specific to incorporating it into your morning routine some way that works for you. And walking to work worked for her because work wasn't crazy far, or she walked to the subway, right, or
I
whatever it
think it
was.
was she walked to the bridge and walked across the bridge and then took transportation after that.
Correct. So whatever it looks like for you, incorporating it into your day, how can you imagine? How can you incorporate movement into your daily life? And as women, I'm going to speak for women, and it's also great for guys too, because every human needs variability in order to not get stuck in these plateaus when we um, are met with challenges in life that we need to overcome, whether it's mental, emotional challenges, or it's like physical, like you need to build up the strength to defend yourself or do the things, or you need to be able to whatever it is. So we need to consider our monthly cycles. And I came across a video that a client shared with me about how the cycles. There's this lady from. It sounded like she had an accent like she was from Africa, so I'm assuming that she was from the continent, right? And she was talking about every woman has 4 cycles. It's like 4 seasons, and that they go through every month. And it was an interesting way of putting it because there are different phases of our monthly cycle. And oftentimes when we say or hear cycle, we just think, oh, when I'm bleeding, and we completely throw it out for if you're in perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopausal. And when you stop having a bleed, or say for women that they don't have a bleed at all, this is the wrong way to think about it, because there's truly four different seasons we find ourselves in, right? And they give them fancy names, right? Scientific names to describe them, but we just keep it real simple. And we talk about the power phase at the very beginning. We talk about the manifestation phase, the second power phase, and the nurture phase. And this is the different days of your cycle before ovulation, from the day one. If you don't have a cycle, that's the new moon. If you do have a cycle, that's the day one that you actually bleed and you're not just spotting, right? All the way to day 10, that's the power phase. That's the time to focus in on cardio. So the high interval training, running, biking, whatever you can do where you're going for like spurts of time, and then you're taking moments to rest, and then you're going to breathlessness, and then you're taking moments to rest again, especially if you're over 40, focusing more so closer to, if you need a 90-second rest, gift yourself that and go for like 60 seconds, and alternate between those two and go with that, right? Coming into the manifestation phase, which tends to be between days 11 and 15 for most women, this is the time to really get into your vision. What is it that you'd like to create for yourself in this life? This is the time where, of course, you could create a baby, you could create a new life, or you can create aspects of your dream, bringing them into fruition, utilizing all aspects of yourself. And this is the time to get into strength training, because your testosterone for women, that's when it's going to come in. And so, in order to build muscle, to burn more fat, to really get all of the mental, emotional benefits, we're going to need to lift a little heavier, whether it's calisthenics, body movement, where you're resisting against the floor, against gravity, in some way, to really boost up in that way. Strength, focusing on strength. The next power phase, we're getting back into the same stuff that we did the first power phase, around day 16 to 19, when hormones are lower again. And then last but not least, the nurture phase, no regular exercising, okay? Gentle stretching, walking, hiking is the vibe, all right? Gardening, that's the vibe. Everything Tai Chi, think, chill, vibe. Think, chill, vibe. So that is how I would kind of structure it, more so on a monthly basis, thinking it from a monthly lens for women and men, honestly, because it helps all of us.
Yep. And that brings us into the cellular benefits. So we talked about the mental benefits, we talked about the emotional benefits, and there's also bodily benefits, physical benefits, in terms of bringing your cells into a state called autophagy. And autophagy is the body's process of cleaning out damaged cells, regenerating new cells, and making sure that the cells that are in operation mode are the healthiest that they can be. Autophagy is like your cellular reset process.
Yeah, like spring cleaning in
Yep.
your body.
Which can be triggered by exercise.
Yeah. So this is really cool, because if you are battling with any sort of autoimmune condition, or whether it's something as common these days as type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes or high cholesterol or whatnot, you all know, if you've ever seen the front of a Cheerios box, that heart health is important. And I laugh because low key, nothing about that cereal is
Oh,
healthy.
you're thinking about like the Cheerios box?
Yeah, you know how they used to have a big old heart
I was
on
like
it
a
to
cereal
convince
box.
everyone that it was actually good for us.
Yep.
Anyway, but so this is one of the things that it's so important to integrate into our daily lives, this intentional movement. So think of the ways. Come back to the Thrive Zone. Come on back. What is in your Thrive Zone? What are the ways that you love to move? Because we already know that it's needed. What are the things that your body's ready for? So maybe if you just had a knee surgery, you're not going to be running. Okay.
Right.
Maybe swimming or biking is more accessible to you. Maybe different aspects of
Weight
of
training.
weight training, yes, are things that you're feeling called to. But what would just light you up? What are some ways that you'd love to move? Maybe you wanted to get into martial arts and now's the time to take a class, you know? So just really gift yourself with these moments of surprise
Remember ankle
of
weights and arm weights.
yes.
Maybe if you're not, if like, let's say you're blessed to work from home, or you're off for the day,
Or you
you
got
just throw
jeans
some
on.
you just throw some ankle weights on. Well, some people don't live in Texas, it's hot out here, but um,
Flowy pants.
you can throw some ankle weights on under your pant leg, and throw some weights on, and just move around, and it'll keep reminding you to be present, and that you're creating a situation where you're creating like a resistance training for your full day, or for as long during that day that you feel like, and just walk around with the ankle weights on.
Or a weighted backpack. Like have your water bottles filled up and put them in there. Depending.
Depends. The backpacks can if you don't practice good posture, I wouldn't necessarily recommend the backpacks as much as like things that are at the bottom of your, what are these called?
Your arms?
Ligaments?
No.
No. What is
Your
the
forearms?
Yeah,
Your
your arms,
wrists?
your wrists, your ankles, but the end of your extremity. I can't remember the word.
We don't need fancy words.
I'm thinking of the fancy word for your arms and legs. But anyway,
Extremities.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because your core uh, is going to get tired, and you're going to start relying on your back to hold all of that weight, and you won't be doing it in a way that's less harmful than it is beneficial, right? It'll be beneficial, but it'll start to be more harmful than it is beneficial with the backpack. Trying to do that for as long as I'm talking about having an ankle weight on that you um, just keep on for a long time. But regardless,
It's always alignment over everything. So
yeah,
if you're not in proper alignment, then you gotta tend to that first, right? And then we get into the movement to keep ourselves safe.
yeah,
Yeah. So set a personal goal for yourself. This is the time to really think through what can you do now. What's accessible to you today. Maybe it's not going to a ton of classes right now. Maybe it's a free app. Like what we mentioned previously, we're not affiliated with them, but Fit On is
hmm
one of those free apps that you can put that thing on your TV and you can get up and go. Okay. Um, it is phenomenal. It has all sorts of different types of movement, everything you can probably think of, except for belly dance. But it's great, and you can utilize it, especially if you're on the go and you just need something to find some way to move real quick that you don't have to, think so much about it and in like a quick 5-15 minute.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's also YouTube. There's
Mhm.
things like Group Hit on YouTube.
Mhm.
Um, Super free,
Yeah,
free
super free.
99. So
Free 99.
uh, just establishing a little schedule for yourself, for women and possibly men, especially if you live with women and they start doing this. Um, Tailoring that to your cycle, tailoring that schedule to your cycle, and have fun with intentional movement. Right? Don't make it
Yes.
such a chore by mentally and in your imagination associating it the wrong way.
Mhm.
Be careful with that. Other than that, today's episode 54 is coming to a close. Make sure you please like, subscribe, share this out. follow the pages, and notify yourself for the next time that we're going live so you don't miss an episode. Um, really, really looking forward to seeing what you guys say in the comments about your movement practice or your inspiration to get back on a movement practice. And we'll see you tomorrow for Shine Day in the next episode.
Take good care, loves. It's been a great episode so far. We'll see you soon.